When the smoke finally cleared over Nashville's neon skyline, 28 voices that once ruled the jukebox were gone, leaving only crackling vinyl and whispered regrets. The honky-tonks of the 50s were wrapped in a blue haze where free cigarette packs lay next to guitar picks and every chorus floated on drifting ash. Label executives claimed the habit steadied nerves. Artists joked that a good drag lubricated the vocal cords. Behind those jokes was a slow-burning fuse already inching toward tragedy. Roger Miller, the quick-witted king of the road, scribbled lyrics on diner napkins while puffing away as if every idea required another match. Friends still laugh at the night he waved an unlit cigarette on Johnny Carson, claiming he was saving the audience from second-hand melody. The laughter faded in 1992 when throat, then lung cancer, stole his punchlines and his voice at 56. One headline asked how silence could sound so loud. Johnny Paycheck swaggered through outlaw lore with a barroom snarl and a Marlboro grin. "Take this job and shove it" became an anthem, but in private he wheezed between lines, fighting emphysema that later slid into lung cancer. By 2003, he was gasping backstage, clinging to oxygen tubes like the last verse of a song he never finished. Conway Twitty, another jukebox giant, hid tanks behind velvet curtains, insisting he could still hit every note. Bandmates recall him recording vocals seated, pausing to catch air before each take, determined that fans would never hear him breathe. Tammy Wynette wore rhinestones brighter than stage lights, yet offstage she traveled with portable oxygen long before devotees noticed. Chronic lung issues and painkiller cocktails brewed a storm that ended in heart failure, but insiders swear the real culprit began with the constant glow at her fingertips. Patsy Cline, queen of torch songs, filled rehearsal halls with smoke thick enough to bend spotlights. Pilots of her final flight mentioned the scent lingering even after doors opened. Though a crash sealed her fate, friends remember the cough she never quite shook. Porter Wagoner strutted across the Grand Ole Opry in sparkling suits, hiding a body that felt like it was breathing through wet cloth. Diagnosed late, his battle with lung cancer was swift. In 2007, the Opry dimmed its lights as his sequins gave way to hospital gowns. Backstage photos reveal sound technicians strategically placing humidifiers, hoping to ease the legend's breath between encores. Eddie Arnold spent 7 decades turning heartbreak into gold records, but by the end, producers lowered arrangements so he could sing without collapsing. Lung cancer crept in silently. Studio edits stitched together phrases captured between shallow breaths. Jim Ed Brown tried the same trick in 2015, smiling through sessions while nurses adjusted hidden ventilators. Vern Gosdin's gravelly baritone once felt like pure country grit. Now we know it was the sound of scarred lungs pleading for air. Ray Price fought pancreatic cancer that climbed into his chest, announcing hospice care with the same calm dignity he showed on stage. Fans flooded social media, stunned that even modern medicine couldn't buy him more time. Hank Lachlan, Boxcar Willie, and Charlie Louvin shared similar twilight scenes, hospital monitors beeping in rhythm to unfinished melodies. Tex Ritter, who once rode Hollywood horses and sang of high noon showdowns, faced his own duel in 1974. A sudden heart attack ended the fight, but autopsies noted lungs darkened like old charcoal. Carl Smith, golden boy of the 50s, enjoyed retirement on his Tennessee ranch until lung cancer knocked at the door in 2010, stealing the rich tone that once soared above steel guitars. Lefty Frizzell revolutionized phrasing, yet cigarettes rewrote the final verse of his life, leading to complications that silenced him at 47. Keith Whitley's story is more tragic still. While the coroner blamed alcohol poisoning, friends recall him battling chronic coughs from relentless smoke, a harbinger no one understood until it was too late. Charlie Rich, the Silver Fox, collapsed from a pulmonary embolism, yet medical notes tie years of heavy smoking to the clot that traveled like a villain through his veins. Rusty Draper charmed audiences with Gambler's Guitar, but lung cancer dealt him the losing hand, pneumonia delivering the final card in 2003. Floyd Tillman, father of Western swing, kept performing into his 80s, breath control fading until songs ended with whispers. Doctors eventually confirmed lung cancer had been the silent metronome dictating his slowing tempo. Boxcar Willie spent years waving from railway stages, joking he lived on steam, but it was leukemia paired with lung cancer that pulled the emergency brake in 1999. Hank Laughlin's sweet tenor once begged for help falling in love. Decades later, he begged for oxygen, the disease claiming him at 91. Ray Price's farewell tour became a lesson in endurance, every encore costing precious lung capacity he could never regain. Billy Walker survived a bus plunge in 1966, only to be haunted by persistent respiratory trouble linked to chain smoking. When a car crash ended his journey, physicians found lungs scarred like forgotten sheet music. Grandpa Jones, picking banjo on Hee Haw, masked shortness of breath with comedic timing, yet strokes fed by respiratory weakness had the last laugh. Jack Green crooned, "There goes my everything," and eventually everything did go. His memory first, courtesy of Alzheimer's, and then his breath, worn thin by decades of smoke. Vern Gosdin, dubbed The Voice, rasped through late career concerts, fans mistaking the rough edge for emotional depth. In truth, lung disease had tuned his chords to a lower, mournful register. Larry Butler produced hits that filled dance floors, but away from studios he coughed so violently that colleagues feared each session might be the last. Chronic lung disease shadowed him until Natural Causes signed the final contract in 2012. Skeeter Davis, whose crystalline vocals asked why the world ended, fought breast cancer publicly, while battling private respiratory issues worsened by secondhand smoke in endless tour buses. Tom T. Hall wrote stories that felt like intimate letters. In later years, those letters were shorter, breathless, clues to ongoing lung problems no press release fully addressed. Charlie Louvin's harmonies once soared alongside his brother, yet pancreatic cancer spreading to his lungs grounded him permanently in 2011. Jean Shepard spent a lifetime telling tales of heartbreak. Age and secondhand smoke etched similar heartbreak on her lungs, leading to a quiet farewell in 2016. Ferlin Husky's gospel-tinged Wings of a Dove seemed prophetic when congestive heart failure, compounded by chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, stopped his flight in 2011. Each artist carried unique stories, yet their finales shared the same dark refrain: smoke as constant companion, applause as temporary distraction. When modern researchers tallied the losses, they discovered a collective catalog of over 500 charting hits, countless awards and entire subgenres shaped by throats slowly turning to embers. In 2007, the Country Music Association quietly expanded its backstage smoking ban, a line in the sand decades too late for many. Younger stars now post anti-smoking pledges, flashing pearly white grins where cigarette stains once lived, yet vintage footage remains, a ghostly reminder of carefree drags between verses. Industry archivists unearth tapes where studio chatter includes matches striking, producers joking about flavor brands, and artists coughing off mic. Listening in retrospect feels like hearing time bombs tick. Fans who romanticize the era often forget that the gentle vinyl crackle they love might actually echo the wheeze of a singer catching breath. Some claim the pressures of touring made cigarettes unavoidable, a portable calm for runaway anxiety. Others point to sponsorships. Tobacco companies paid for radio segments, printing ads with crooners holding smoldering sticks like trophies. The partnership sold lifestyle as much as music, a bluesy glamour that turned theaters into indoor chimneys. By the time medical journals connected dots, contracts were inked and habits were gospel. Even so, stories of last-minute clarity surface. Porter Wagoner reportedly told a young artist never to light up, warning, "These rhinestones hide nothing in an X-ray." Ray Price in Hospice urged fans to focus on melody over image, admitting the image cost him breath he now would pay anything to buy back. When Johnny Paycheck's oxygen meter beeped during a visit from his granddaughter, He joked that the flashing numbers were just Pawpaw's new light show. Behind the laugh was a realization heavier than any outlaw anthem. Historians debate whether the sonic grit we cherish stems in part from damaged chords. Listen to Lefty Frizzell's later takes. The frayed edge that tugs heartstrings might be scar tissue. Keith Whitley's haunting lilt, often attributed to emotion, may also echo constricted airways. The art remains transcendent, but the price tag proves brutal. Technology tries to resurrect them. AI remasters clean crackles. Virtual duets pair new stars with old ghosts, yet no algorithm restores lungs. The hologram can stand. It cannot breathe. Younger artists watch uneasy as digital phantoms croon timeless lines while backstage no one reaches for a lighter. Today, Nashville's studios smell of coffee, not smoke. E-cig shops line Broadway, promising safer clouds, though doctors caution the game is too new to call. Museums display porter wagoners' bedazzled jackets beside a simple inhaler. The juxtaposition feels like a punchline written by fate. And still the records spin. Wedding couples sway to Hello Darlin', unaware that Conway Twitty whispered takes between coughs. Road trip singers belt King of the Road, oblivious to Roger Miller's silent final years. The songs survive intact, only their creators paid an invisible tariff. What should fans do with this knowledge? Some shrug, arguing every era bears its vices. Others see a cautionary tale written in smoke rings. Perhaps the answer lies in memory itself. Honor the music, remember the cost, refuse to pay the same. One thing is certain, when the last echo of applause fades, lungs must still rise and fall in a quiet room. Notes can live forever. The bodies that birth them cannot. As vinyl trends surge again, collectors obsess over first pressings, chasing an authentic crackle. Maybe authenticity also means acknowledging the bitter breath behind the beauty. The next time that needle drops and a beloved chorus fills the air, imagine the studio light blinking red, a songwriter leaning into the mic, a cigarette glowing like an ember of borrowed time. Then ask yourself how many more verses the world never heard because smoke silenced the singer before dawn. Music historians like to say legends never die. Perhaps they simply trade stages. If that's true, 28 stars now headline a different venue, smoky no more, voices clear, guitars forever in tune. Down here the spotlight turns to us. We can romanticize their haze or learn from it. When the chorus fades tonight and quiet settles, their silent message lingers. Breathe easy, live long, let the song outlast the smoke. Some descendants of these icons now tour small-town fairs, sharing memories that never landed in liner notes. Dean Miller recalls hiding his dad Roger's matches, only to find fresh packs stuffed in guitar cases by promoters eager to keep jokes flowing. He swears the last home demo captured a wheeze, the sound of a punchline outrun by time. Health historians parsing autopsy data sketch a cruel graph. Vocal range narrows precisely as record sales peak, showing creative highs and physical lows marched together. Dr. Lena Baxley at Vanderbilt says early x-rays were shelved because producers feared insurance hikes more than illness. Her team found logs where sessions shrank to 10-minute bursts as singers fought for breath. Vintage magazines glow with cigarette ads starring country couples laughing around campfires. One notorious 1962 spread shows Patsy Cline praising a drag for keeping her voice warm on winter tours. Collectors pay thousands for the poster, irony included, even as modern museums frame it beside stern health warnings. New songwriters respond with elegies. Rising Americana artist Clara James recently released Ashes on the Fretboard, weaving references to broken breath and silent Opry corridors. Critics cheered, yet some radio edits trimmed lines deemed too blunt toward sponsors. Money still hums louder than memory, though the balance slowly shifts inch by inch. Country radio now airs 30-second wellness spots voiced by Willie Nelson, urging fans to trade smoke breaks for water breaks. Nelson, who swapped tobacco for his trademark herbal roll, chuckles that he still breathes easier than Buddy's did at 50. The spot finishes with a single chord, then deliberate silence, heavier than any lyric. Record labels hire wellness coaches, scheduling breathing workshops between songwriting retreats. Performers tweet backstage yoga poses, proclaiming the real outlaw move is touring at 70 with lungs intact. Some old-school fans scoff, craving the gritty rasp of yesteryear. Yet ticket sales suggest clarity sells just fine. Outside clubs, nostalgia clings like old ash. Veteran roadies swap tales of ashtrays so overloaded they rattled like tambourines. One swears he mopped tar leaking from an air vent above a drum kit. Another claims carpets on Music Row were replaced biannually due to nicotine snow. Exaggerations, perhaps, but the lingering smell feels like proof. Advances in voice therapy offer partial miracles, smoothing edges yet failing to erase scar tissue etched by decades of smoke. Scientists test stem cell patches on vocal cords, but transplanted cells cannot reclaim notes lost to long-ago habits. Technology may mimic vibrato. It cannot manufacture clean oxygen. The Country Music Hall of Fame runs teen workshops titled Clear the Air, pairing songwriting sessions with blunt lung health discussions. Participants rewrite classic choruses into wellness anthems, turning Stand By Your Man into Stand By Your Plan, a plan that includes stepping outside when haze drifts near. Educators report the message sticks when sung. Streaming platforms curate playlists labeled Legends in the Mist, coupling vintage hits with covers recorded by smoke-free artists. Listeners notice subtle shifts, longer held notes, brighter timbre, breaths that don't sound like apologies. Comments sometimes argue that raw charm is lost, yet play counts climb. Proof audiences can love both authenticity and fresh air. Hollywood biopics wrestle with portrayal. Directors want realism without glamorizing every puff. Recent films use muted filters and lingering coughs, making cigarettes feel like villains stealing lines from their hosts. Consultants ensure each exhale looks expensive, every fit of hacking impossible to edit away. Downtown Nashville murals honor the 28th with halos of musical notes, not smoke rings. Tourists pose for selfies while casual vapors stroll by, unaware of irony curling overhead. Paint fades beneath summer sun, but stories etched in plaque below urge passers-by to inhale the lesson, not the fumes. Surviving contemporaries speak candidly. Dolly Parton laughs about wigs so lacquered they trapped bar smoke for weeks, requiring bathtub bleach rituals. Chris Christopherson admits dreams where a cigarette rescues writer's block. He wakes grateful the fantasy cannot steal real breath. Their frankness lands harder than public service slogans. Fan conventions advertise listening lounges with hospital-grade filters that scrub air every 15 minutes. Promoters flaunt the feature like a VIP perk, while older attendees remember concerts where the only filter was the bartender's curse when ash burned tabletops. Progress sometimes arrives disguised as luxury. Across the Atlantic, European festivals display banners listing the 28 names followed by the phrase, "Talent is priceless, breath is not." Crowds chant the roll call during encore breaks, a ritual both tribute and vow. Attendance hasn't dipped. If anything, the ceremony deepens connection between past and present. Late one night, a busker on Lower Broadway strums Long Black Veil. Between verses, he tells tourists Lefty Frizzell died young. Lungs surrendered long before legend suggested. The tip jar fills faster after truth replaces myth, confirming that honesty, even grim, can still earn applause and rent money. Researchers estimate that had these stars quit by mid-career, they might have gifted the world another 400 original songs. Imagine the missing melodies, duets unsung, protest anthems unborn, lullabies that could have soothed long, restless nights across countless nurseries and war zones. For all the sorrow, statistics whisper hope. Smoking rates among mainstream country musicians have dropped from 60% in 1970 to under 15% today. Analysts predict upcoming Hall of Fame classes may feature octogenarians belting encores without hidden oxygen tanks. Fans could finally watch heroes stand tall through the last chord. Yet the unanswered question lingers. Will the story of 28 endure as a lesson or dissolve into trivia for collectors? Every new artist steps onto boards worn smooth by heels that tapped ashes in time. Whether that history becomes caution tape or mere decoration depends on choices made before the first chord rings. As closing time sweeps across Nashville tonight, remember, smoke rises, but awareness can rise higher. Let the chorus of caution float above every neon sign, carried by clear voices that refuse to be dimmed by ash. May the next generation breathe deep, sing louder, and honor the past without repeating its slow, suffocating refrain.